What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Brooks, co-host of Hear Me Out podcast, and today I have with me Nia from multiple outlets covering WNBA. Nia, let the people know who you are and give us your socials so that we can follow you.
Yeah, I'm Nia Symone. Currently, right now, I'm the host of Nike's new show called Come Through, where I sit down and talk with game-changing Black women. I also host a pod myself called In the Clutch Podcast with Nia Malik. Um, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Nia on Air. I talk all things WNBA, women's college basketball, some NBA, anything basketball I talk about. So let's just put that out there. But you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Nia on Air. That is NIA on Air.
Shout out to all the women in sports. Y'all have on a special day all these crazy stuff. And I know it's pretty difficult being a woman in sports just from
Yeah.
all the horror stories going on. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you first about this. You mentioned this Nike show that you have. I
Hmm.
know you're also a former hooper.
Yeah.
Just these opportunities that you have, how special are they, and what have they really exposed to you, just as a journalist, as former hooper, all of that.
Yeah, no, it's truly a blessing. I didn't know what exactly was next for me after I graduated college. I played basketball 3.5 years. I did not play my senior year, and I feel like that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, for the simple fact that I actually had time to focus. Of course, I studied communications. I knew I always wanted to be in broadcasting, but I didn't know what it truly took. And so, it's an absolute blessing because basketball has been such a gift to me, and now that I'm able to share and tell stories and just give perspective of a former athlete, and also connect with a lot of other amazing journalists, content creators, you name it. And to be able to just talk about this game that has changed my life, and I know it's had a huge impact on a lot of other people's lives. So, just being here today is in this position is truly a blessing. It really, really is. I'm only 24 years old, just turned 24 last month.
Happy
Um,
belated.
thank you. And so, just the amount of blessings that has been brought to me, I'm extremely grateful for it. And of course, I can only just pay it forward and continue to make sure that I am a leader and an inspiration to women, young Black women, young Black girls, whoever who wants to be in these spaces. So I am doing my best, and I just hope to just leave an impact. That's the goal.
Sure, and you definitely are with all these shows. I mean, the Nike show, the podcast. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. But
Thank you. Thank you.
let's get on to this main subject that I brought you on here today. Let's talk about the WNBA
Oh, yeah.
turning 25 years old. Um, and of course, you see the comments all the time talking about um, just disparaging. I'll say that about the league and about women in basketball in general.
Hmm.
Um, for you, I mean, how special is this year? Uh, and what have they been doing? What have they been able to do right that is allowing them to continue to play at this level, at this space, and not have to worry about closing down like other leagues in the past.
Yeah. No, it's truly a blessing. It is amazing just to see the growth of this league. I mean, 25 is very, very young. I don't think people realize that. Um, and I mean, like I said, it's only a year older from me, So, um, the growth, especially, I feel like last year was such a turning point for the WNBA. With the social injustice, them leading the cause and social injustice, and um, these women have always been vocal. They've always spoke out on issues. They've always been the voice for people who may cannot speak as those, so they speak for those people. And it's such a beautiful thing because each of these women, they're so pure. Not only are they amazing athletes, but they're amazing mothers, they're amazing role models, they're amazing wives, you name it. Like, they are amazing people. And I just am so honored to be a part of this. I actually started out as a ball kid for the Atlanta Dream growing up. So, I mean, I will never forget the day when I think I was going to the fifth grade at the time, or I was in the fifth grade going to the sixth grade. It was one of those. No, I was going to the fifth grade. I was in the fourth grade, and I had an AAU teammate. Our moms were really close, and they made sure they exposed us to a lot of women's basketball. So before we even had a WNBA team, we were always going to the Georgia Tech women's basketball games and stuff. And so basically, I'll never forget the day my mom came in my room. I think I was getting ready for school one day, and she said, "We're going to get a women's basketball team." And at the time, it didn't register that it was a WNBA team. And so from there, from 2008 until now, my mom has been a season ticket holder. So shout out to her for really exposing me to women's basketball, the WNBA, of course. And it's really changed my life. I don't think I've ever missed a game unless I had a game or I was out of town or something. But I guarantee you, from 2008 till on, we've never missed a game in person, aside from, of course, the 2020 bubble season. But like I said, the WNBA, as Ari Chambers says, the WNBA is so important, and it truly is. It really is.
Speaking of the dream, I know they've not only do they have that new ownership group, but they've also been collaborating and getting ready to team up with a lot of black creatives in the Atlanta
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
And for you specifically, I mean, you get to live in like kind of like this new mecca. I mean,
yeah.
how special was or how important was that for you growing up, especially playing basketball, especially being a creator yourself and seeing all this inspiration around you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the thing about it is with Atlanta, and it's such a special place because, it is a place for minorities and black men and women and black families to grow and, to live that quote unquote American dream, as they say. But Atlanta has always been this city that has just been growing and has always been trendsetters and led the way in so many different things. And so to now to be of age and to actually be a part of it and just to see how it's grown, it's amazing. It's incredible. Of course, our sports is getting a good impact from it. Um, and I'm so happy with the new ownership. Of course, we've had a situation with our coaching change. They just announced on Monday we have four black women. This is history. Four black women that will be broadcasting each home game for the Atlanta Dream. I mean, like this is history. We've never seen anything like this. And I really, really appreciate someone like Renee Montgomery who saw from just an athlete standpoint of what this league lacked, and now she's pouring in to make sure that this is going to help the league grow. When we talk about diversity and inclusion, no, we're not saying we're just going to have two people of color and everybody else is, you know, doesn't look like us, doesn't know our struggles, doesn't know what exactly creators and athletes really and truly need to be great. And so you have people and women like Renee in these spaces to speak up and to get those involved. I mean, it's incredible. So listen, Atlanta has so much under their sleeves. I can't even spill all of the news right now, but just to see the growth of this organization and to kind of see the culture coming back to the Atlanta Dream. I feel at one point when I want to say it was like 2016, 2017, the culture kind of changed. Um, so I'm happy to see now that they are appealing to the audience and appealing to their guests and the fans. I'm sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. They're
Right.
appealing to their fans and people who truly enjoy the Atlanta Dream and have followed the Atlanta Dream forever.
You say in 2016, 2017, a culture change. What do you mean by that? As far as just like what's going on in the city or in the league, or what do you
More
mean?
in the league, of course. At that time, we got a new GM. Michael Cooper was out, so we got a new coach, which was Nikki Cullen. Um, it was like a shift, kind of. Like it, going to the games wasn't the same. It wasn't fun. It felt like the culture was literally sucked out of this organization. And I'm not saying like those people have a huge impact as to why. I don't know what happened, but for a while the culture was gone. It was completely gone. Like going to the games were so fun growing up, and it was just so culturally like uh how can I, it was Atlanta, and it seemed as though like Atlanta was being sucked out for those couple of seasons, like as if they were trying something new, but it wasn't working because, again, you have to think about. who's here, who you're impacting, who's going to be your larger broad of audience. And if you're not really pertaining to those people, or you're not pertaining to your large part of your audience because you want to change so many different things that don't work, it may work for other cities and other organizations, but not this one. It shows. And so I think that Renee Montgomery, she saw that from an athlete standpoint to now a part owner. And she's really, really, really taken advantage of her opportunity to bring the culture back. And I appreciate her so much for it.
Shout out to Renee Montgomery. And one of the main things that you also talked about was just like the culture shift and being able to bring back what made the dreams special, about what made the WNBA special. One thing that is coming out soon, actually coming out today, Thursday, is 144 documentary about the
Yeah.
bubble and just what happened in the season, as far as what you mentioned as the social justice
Hmm.
in or activism, I guess you could, yeah, I'll call it that. Uh, and then we also have some more documentaries coming out. We know about the '96 Olympic team.
Yep.
That's going to be a 30 for 30. My friend, she's making a documentary about DMV's Hoovers
Yep.
for women's basketball players.
Shout
Over
out
the
to her.
summer, we saw that shout out to Melanie Page for sure, and read that article I put out, put in the description box. But
Very good article,
Draymond
by the way.
Green, thank you so much. Draymond Green, he was talking about over the summer, oh, these women don't have enough stories coming out and this, that, and the third. But these things coming out, is it time for him to, eat his words and maybe walk back that statement?
Yeah, I mean, because, here's the thing that really blows me is that people love to speak on what women should be doing. Well, they need to be doing this, they need to be doing that, as if we can just get up today and say, "Hey, we want to create a 7-part documentary on the Houston Comets." And they're amazing. Amazing. There's no reason why there's no documentary out about the Houston Comets. Like, do you know about the Houston Comets? Like who they were and what happened, and how now
Four
the
straight
organization,
championships.
you know what I'm saying? And now the
Yeah.
organization is defunct. Like, how did we get to this point? You see what I'm saying? So this is the thing, is that it's so much easier said than done, where people can just get behind Twitter and make all these think pieces about what women do. You're getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars because you're in the NBA. Okay, so your privilege totally different from these women. And so if the WNBA did not have that historic season last year in 2020, people would still be turning their backs on this league, you know? But I'm sorry, they have held, these people accountable, from front office to producers, whoever is involved, as to not getting these stories told. When you get stories told, people understand more. But there's nothing nothing that you can find about what it's like to be a WNBA player. What's the life like to be a WNBA player? And I'm so excited and I'm so happy that this documentary is happening. I hope for many, 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 many more for the WNBA, because there's so many incredible stories, so many incredible women that are a part of this organization. Like I said, we're going to see, you know, these women being moms inside of the wubble. Imagine being quarantined for however long you need to be quarantined. You're in one stationary space, you cannot leave for 90 to however many days you were there. And you are trying to, number one, get yourself together mentally, because in the outside of this wubble, Black people are fighting for their lives every single day. Women are fighting for equality every single day. There was so much happening this summer. My God, like, it was a lot this past summer. I'm sorry. On top of having to perform, you might have injuries. You have to take care of your kids. Like, I cannot wait for everything. Like, I want this to be like The Last Dance, how we all watch The Last Dance as a family. I need us all to watch 144 as a family, because um, I know there's going to be a lot of stories to be told, and I'm just excited for it. I'm excited for that Olympic team documentary, and I expect to see many, many more. Like, I need the WNBA to have their own section in ESPN Films.
And not to mention the fact that this was for an entire season. You didn't do this for 8 games plus however many playoff games was going on that your team played. So it's another caveat to add in there. And you mentioned the fact that Houston Comets, they're a defunct team now. Off the top of my head, I know about like the San Antonio Stars, I believe, Detroit Shock. Those teams are now gone.
Yep.
Those are pieces of WNBA history that aren't going to be there anymore. Um, and Kathy Englehart, she's had these conversations about expanding the league. If the league is able to hit their goals as far as attendance and viewership and all of that. Uh, for one, who would you want to see? Like, what teams would you want to see be resurrected, or who do you want to see get an expansion team in the WNBA?
Definitely got to bring back the Houston Comets. That's number one. Detroit Shock. The Miami Soul. I mean, like, you got to think about the market that these teams were in, and these cities. And really, I would like all the teams back. But I mean, if we had to choose, I mean, between the Comets, the Shock, the Miami Soul, um, I mean, what about the Charlotte Sting? I mean, there's just so many teams, like, again, that are defunct right now, and it shouldn't even have gotten to this point, which is, we understand revenue, money, et cetera, et cetera. But expansion is so important right now because there are so many talented players that may be playing overseas right now because they're not able to stay on a WNBA roster. And it's not because they're not talented. It's not because they can't play. It's not because they can't handle the WNBA. It's for the simple fact that if they don't fit this system, it's not like, oh, well, we can trade them to another team. It doesn't work like that. Imagine being drafted, your dreams are coming true, you make it to the second round, and you got to work twice as hard for that one position in training camp because there's no other space for you. So, expansion is important, and I know for a fact it has to be the top of conversation right now because, I mean, today is actually the final day, for teams to cut and make roster cuts. They have to have it by 5 p.m. So that's in a couple hours. And so far, the people that have been cut should not have been cut. And it's again, it's not because they're not talented. It's not because they don't deserve to be there. It's just for the simple fact that expansion needs to happen.
Yeah, salary cap issues, and that's
Yep.
always tough. I mean,
Yep.
I was just saw a tweet earlier about the Chicago Sky and them cutting Natasha Mack and Lexi Brown's people that they're well known hoopers, and they weren't even able to stay on a team. Lexi Brown was just cut
Yep.
from the Lynx. It's,
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
Yep. 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 So, man, got a lot of work to do. A lot of work. And I'm just hoping that that is the topic of conversation in the front office right now, is about how are you going to expand this league, viewership and everything. Now, the WNBA has done a great job right now because, you have Google as partners now. Amazon is partners now, as far as making sure the viewership, has helped a lot. You have a lot of nationally televised games this season on top of WNBA League Pass. So many people have been putting up like, hey, I will buy your League Pass for you to make sure that you have it this season.
Right.
So
Shout
we're
out to
doing this.
WNBA Twitter.
Facts. Shout out to WNBA Twitter because it's a family and everybody just wants to see this league grow and prosper. So big shout out to those people. But yeah, I mean, viewership. That's a key thing. And I think that the WNBA has for sure locked that in. Marketing. Let's hope that it's better this season. There's so many things that comes behind it that helps um, with getting this expansion done.
And just speaking of marketing, I know like originally when this league was say like a handful of years old, they had these players, getting on the commercials. They were glammed up. It didn't look like it was a natural thing. But now, fast forward to 25 years, you have a bunch of players that are embracing kind of like I guess the traditional femininity,
Yeah.
and you have players wearing the lashes. They have their nails done. They're looking like FloJo, but in a basketball uniform. Like,
Yeah.
what's it gonna take to have some of these hoopers, market these lash brands, these Lash Text, whoever it may be, not Lash Text, but Nail Text.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
what's that next step in order to get that done?
Yeah, I mean, you have the tools. It's just about getting those players in. So it's crazy because I feel as though that certain brands or certain people, you know that okay, this woman's beautiful, but she's not a top player, so she doesn't deserve to get. You see what I'm saying? And that way of thinking is so dangerous, because you have players like Dana Evans. They were asking her why, like, how are you able to play in lashes, like just like anybody else. And it's crazy because I think that era actually started either right before my class or during my class, because I'm like, wow, I used to wear lashes playing basketball. I always had the high ponytails and made sure my eyebrows was done. That still does not take away of you being a great athlete. Okay, so let's put that out there. You can hoop and look cute. If that's not your preference, totally fine.
Right.
But when people get over this old school, oh, you got to look rough on the court, or you're not a real athlete, when people get over that, I think that's when things will really change. But I think these athletes are for sure open to it. I mean, you look at Lexi Brown. I mean, she would be a perfect person to market for makeup and beauty.
Kaiser too.
Yeah, Kaiser. You have Dee Dee Rich. I mean, you have all these just beautiful, beautiful women. Even women who may not even want to dress up. There's still ways that you can market them as well if they're, want to speak out in LGBTQ plus communities. Partnerships with that, like it's out there, the opportunities are there. It's just about these brands and these people who may not even think that it wouldn't be worthy enough, but they don't understand this is going to help the league grow.
Yeah.
So when people get over this mentality that women can't be cute on the court, I think we will see an increase and a change and a shift.
Just like Deion Sanders says, when you look good, you play good, and when you play good, you get paid good, right? And
Period.
and another thing too, which I think is interesting is how like league, league fits on Instagram.
Yeah.
League fits has been really embracing some of these WNBA players too. Like you saw Lexi, you saw
Hmm.
Sue Bird,
Hmm.
Diana Taurasi. I can't even think of anybody else that was like the main people, but League Fits was really popping with them. Taya Cooper too. She was on
Yep.
there a whole lot too. So I think these Instagram pages being able to market the players more would be really helpful too.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, even show love to these platforms that, are all thing women's basketball, made for the W. If you don't know who Made for the W is, you gotta check them out. They got all the fresh kicks, fresh fits, all that stuff. They are really, really vocalizing and showing these players in their true form and their true fashion. So even showing love to these smaller platforms, man, because it's a lot of good platforms out there.
Highlight her and W
But
Slam too.
yeah, W Slam, women's basketball timeline, um, goodness, the next hoops. You got W Insider. Goodness, I'm missing a lot of other people, but yo, like I said, shout out to WNBA Twitter, man. It's literally like a family. Everybody supports one another, and everybody is vocal, and we are holding those people accountable. So we'll definitely see more. Actually, Chinea Gumake was the first player in over 12 years, 10 or 12 years, to have a non-basketball commercial. Like, come on. Now
Mm-hmm.
you see a commercial everywhere for, I think it's Grubhub, or yeah, I think it's Grubhub.
Okay. Oh, the one of her she's like finger rolling to
Mm-hmm.
the yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool,
Or is
cool,
it
cool.
DoorDash? I think it's DoorDash.
One of them.
One of
One of
those.
the other. But
I think it's DoorDash.
let's say Nia becomes commissioner for the day. What are four changes that you'll make to the league in order to improve it or help with the marketing, whatever it may be?
Mm, expansion, marketing, um, partnerships. Partnerships are so important. If we are so worried about revenue and things of that sort, and I'm not an expert to this, I still have a lot to learn, but I've just always wondered why the NBA hasn't done some type of partnership to help as far as revenue and getting these women exactly where they need to be. There's no reason why that Nobody's making $1 million on the WNBA roster, just like every player on an NBA roster is making seven
Bare
plus
minimum.
figures. Yeah, their bare minimum is $1 million. Like, come on,
Yeah.
just to sit on the bench? Seriously? You know what I'm saying? So definitely partnerships are super important. And let's see, I said expansion, marketing, partnerships. Um, I would have to say I need an inside the life of the W. Inside the life, meaning content, countless content. You have all these great platforms that is dedicated to women's basketball. Why aren't you partnering with those platforms? You have a writer team, people who write articles and et cetera, et cetera. Um, People who create content. Why do we not have anybody following around these women of, documenting now? I'm sure they're doing it now, but this should have been happening years ago, documenting so that people can be aware, people can understand and support the WNBA. Because I know for me, when I watch a documentary on somebody or I watch an interview on somebody that I'm learning more about, when I learn more about them and I see how human they are and I see how pure they are, I want to support them more. So, if I had to do those, I think that would be it.
Once again, shout out to W Slam, highlight her, uh,
Highlighter, yeah.
a bunch of your outlets, a bunch of the outlets that you shouted out that sometimes do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just watching something about Taya Cooper the other day,
Yeah, yeah,
and just speaking of players becoming more like humanized and just we're getting to know players. Again, WSM on YouTube, they're always doing something with like Paige
yep,
Buchers, AZ
yep,
Fudd.
yep.
I want to swing it around to this. Um, I was actually just reading something about how obviously the NCAA is crooked and they're just a terrible organization as far as everything goes, not paying the players, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, but this article was saying how just in 2018, 2019, women's basketball was just nearly raised $1 billion in revenue alone. And we saw the disrespect that they sent to them with that quote unquote weight room. Um, did you feel like that situation kind of like set back women's basketball when that happened and we saw what was going on?
Are you saying like set them back, meaning like what do you mean?
Set them back as in, oh wow, like this is gonna happen to them. Like is it normal or is it okay to just be that disrespectful? Something like that.
I mean, the thing about it is this has been going on for forever. Like this is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? The power of social media is really incredible. But honestly, this is nothing new and it will not set them back. It'll only move them forward because again, let's talk about how we're going to hold people accountable now for their actions. And I'm really proud of those group of women and those athletes for speaking out and using their voices. Like, I don't think, even like for me, when I was, in the NCAA and I was playing on the college level, I mean, we didn't nearly like even have, I'm not saying we didn't have the balls to speak out about it, but, we were pretty much told, like, play basketball and shut the heck up and be
Yep.
grateful that you got a scholarship, and most of us were very grateful to have a scholarship. We saw the wrongs. We saw how the men were treated differently than us. We saw that the guys could get this and we couldn't get this. And it's just a lot. Like we see it. You see what I'm saying? So I definitely don't think it'll set them back. I think that now nobody can ignore the mistreatment of women and women's sport. Like you can't ignore it anymore. It's there, it's obvious, and you will be called out. And we're gonna bully you so bad to the point that you want to resign.
Yeah. And
I'm just saying.
yeah, and again, I could probably just link this in, but it's a article from Sally Jenkins, excuse me, from Washington Post columnist over there. She was talking about the actual revenue that these people bring in,
Mm,
and again, this tournament alone, record viewership, record revenue, just absolutely amazing overall for the women's basketball
yeah.
in college at least. How exciting was that tournament for you? Because I know for me, um, the main game that I was upset about was barely UConn, but how great was that tournament just in general?
Wow. I mean, so of course, I'm WNBA all day, but women's college basketball like is
Lit,
near and dear to my heart.
lit.
That was my first exposure to women's basketball. So, I mainly like focus on women's college basketball. And this year was so fun. Despite it being a roller coaster, the ups and downs with COVID cancelings and people opting out, teams opting out, it was such a fun season because it could be like it was up for grabs for anyone. And I don't think any of us predicted to see Arizona and Stanford face off for the championship. So that was the fun part about women's college basketball, is that the fact that this tournament belonged to anyone. Anyone, we all expected South Carolina or UConn or Oregon or Arkansas. I mean, even like the
Maryland
upsets were
too.
insane to me. So it was really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I can't wait for part two. Like I'm counting down the days of, like, of course I'm ready for the WNBA season, but I am ready for that women's college basketball season. Not to mention a lot of players decided to take that extra year, that COVID year, they got that back. So a lot of them are doing 6 years. So yo, I'm Bricks, I don't think you understand how excited I am. Like I said, it was such a fun and historical college season. We saw a lot of different players that I don't think any of us even thought twice about. Ari McDonald, her stock went absolutely bananas after the tournament. So just those type of stories, just to see how things unfold for players and what's going to set them up for the future and their next step into their professional career, is absolutely incredible. But I am beyond ready and excited for part two of women's college basketball.
Feel the energy coming through the camera right now.
Yeah,
It's
you
it's,
feel
it's
it.
coming on
You
to me
feel
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to the WNBA before I let you go.
Sure.
I want to ask you about contenders for the league. We know about the Aces.
Mm.
We know about the Storm. Anybody else that come to mind that could possibly take this title 2021 season?
The Chicago Sky. Chicago Sky. Of course, I got to put in the Atlanta Dream. Um, the Minnesota Lynx. Please do not sleep, because I think that we saw such this Lynx team is very dangerous for the simple fact that however many young athletes and young players they have on this squad, they're gonna be so fun to watch. Um, of course, you can't count out Washington. You definitely can't count out Washington. We didn't see Elena Deladon or Tina Charles last season because they opt out, but they're back
Mhm.
and they're gonna be fun.
With
And
Natasha Cloud.
oh yeah, Natasha Cloud. And of course, hello, we cannot forget the New York Liberty. It's going to be super, 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 super fun to watch. I mean, they've made so many offseason moves, and I really think that this is going to be the team that has been reconstructed. They're rebuilding, of course. They have a lot of young talent, a lot of young talent. So um, there are some teams to watch now, but I've always said if I had to choose one, I've always said do not count out the Chicago Sky. I said that last season, even before Candace got traded to the Sky, because you got people like you got Diamond Shields, you got Allie Quigley, you got Courtney Vandersloot. Well, Gabby Williams isn't there anymore, but um, man, I mean, you just got so much talent. So between those teams, those are some teams do not sleep on. Make sure you pay close attention. And just like I said, this women's college basketball season was up for grabs. I personally think that this WNBA season is going to be up for grabs because of the historic and amazing offseason that the league has had.
Shout out to parity. It always makes basketball more fun. Sports in general more fun.
Of course.
And one more question. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Take your time.
Early pick. Do you have an way too early pick for MVP and Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the year. Hmm. Ooh, rookie of the year. Who we talking? Let me think. This is tough. Oh my god. So I'm a Dana Evans stan,
Of course.
and Dana has a chip on her shoulder, man. She has a chip on the shoulder.
Second round pick. That's crazy.
Second round. You know, um, but I would expect her to have a season like Crystal Dangerfield did, because see, Crystal Dangerfield went second round too. When she was drafted, and I mean, they tried to say she's undersized. oh, she's not, probably going to fit in, with the system. And I mean, look at the name that she's made for herself. So I would say Dana Evans, but hmm, for my honorable rookie of the year, I'm giving it to, gosh, this rookie class was pretty good. I'm gonna give it to nah.
Charlie Collier? Because that'd be hard for her to get that done. As stuck as they are in the front court.
Yeah, I am going to have to say I'm gonna give it to Ari. I'm gonna give
Okay.
it to Ari.
That was who I
Definitely
was
gonna give
thinking
it
of
to
too.
Ari. Yeah, for the simple fact for Ari fits in so well with this Atlanta Dream team. I'm so excited to see them play tomorrow. But she has a mentor like Odyssey Sims, that's there just leading her the way. She has Kennedy Carter, teaching her the ropes. So for Ari, she's in such a good place to grow, and she's so poised, and and she works so hard. Um, I think it's going to be between those two for the simple fact that for Ari, she's a defensive sound player. She plays in the passing lane. She has great court vision. She's able to, get it done on both ends of the floor. She can drive. She can shoot. And I think for her is that she's gonna know her role in this team so freaking well. Not to mention she also has Courtney Williams too there that's gonna be mentoring her and helping her. So that would be my honorable. For my MVP, oh man. Ooh, for my MVP, I'm gonna give it to Candace Parker. I'm gonna give it to Candace. I'm gonna give it to Candace. I'm gonna tell
Mm,
you why. Number one, she's back in Chicago. Okay. She's in a total different system that's gonna set her up to be that go-to player. Okay. Um, I believe she has a chip on her shoulder. I do. There's a lot of ups and downs that happen in LA. And
shouldn't
it's
shouldn't
just
have sat her out in that fourth
no,
quarter.
no, man. And that's the mistake that he made. And I knew nothing was gonna be right from there on. And I think we all saw that. But this year for her, I think is gonna be so special. It's like the rebirth, I feel like. So if I had to give an MVP, I'm gonna give it to her. My honorable, Elena Deladon, hands down, for the simple fact that she opted out this season, and Liz Cambage. So I got three. I got three.
Oh, I kind of see Asia Wilson's season kind of being like an outlier
Mm.
too, because
Mm-hmm.
it was this Cambage's team
Yeah.
before she opted out of that season. So for
Yeah.
her to win MVP was great. But it's like, can she duplicate that? I don't know,
Yeah.
especially with Liz being back there. And
I think she can.
the team is super stacked,
Yeah.
which is why I think they have to be title favorite.
Yeah. 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 No, they're stacked, man. They're fun. They are so fun. I'm excited, man. I'm ready for Friday.
For
I'm
sure.
so ready for Friday.
Once again, guys, make sure that you tag not tag in, but tap into the 144 documentary coming out tonight. And Nia, before I let you go, man, anything else you want to say about the W or just about you in general?
Look, man, just support women's basketball. It doesn't take rocket science. It's just respect and kindness and knowing and understanding how hard these women work. These women deserve just as much as recognition as the men. And look, support, have fun. Even if you don't watch every single game, buy some merch. Follow them on Twitter, interact with them on Twitter. Support their brand, support their sponsorship, support these teams. Support is so little, like it's no rocket science to it. You don't have to watch every single game. Um, I'm not saying you have to know every single player that comes into the W, but show respect. Please be kind and please understand that these women have worked very, very hard to get to where they're at today.
Let's get a quick little shout out with the W hoodie that you got on,
Oh,
because I know the
okay.
W hoodie is amazing.
I
Yes,
don't know. We'll
sir.
see. Yeah. You
There you
know,
go.
listen, the merch is nuts this season.
It's
The merch
fire.
is nuts. The jerseys, new jerseys, like, come on. You got it. I know it's getting hot, so everybody can't wear the orange hoodie, but you can get your orange shirt. There's
Exactly.
caps, there's socks. Like, there's so much that you could really, really support the W by, even just buying a league pass and sharing it with a friend, letting a friend know, go watch the games, do something. Support doesn't take too much.
Doesn't take too much, especially for a good sport like women's basketball. But with
Of
that being
course.
said, Nia, thank you so much for coming on talking about women's basketball. For me, this is something that I really came into the past couple of years, just covering Towson women's basketball, and fell in love. And now I just enjoy it even more than I did before. So once again, thank
Yeah.
you for coming on. See you soon, and we are out.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me.
Thanks for watching that segment of Hear Me Out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below so you can get the latest on sports, pop culture, and progressive politics. Stay informed.